Greetings, gang. I'd say happy lunch hour, but hell, I'm no good news today, that's for sure. Uh, so, okay, it's 11:30 my time. By the time you guys see this, it'll be about noon. But if you guys noticed the second video I put up today, this being the third already, I had mentioned the truckers issue on the Canadian-American border, and I had pinned the comment because as I was uploading that video, I found out that the Canadian government had removed the quarantine from Canadian drivers coming back into Canada. That's the only thing that changed, okay? Unvaccinated American drivers still can't go into Canada, so it's not going to make a whole hell of a lot of difference for what's going on. We'll still see what happens with the truckers' strike. Y'all know, I mean, they announce a trucker strike every month and we never see one. But that's not the point of this video. So after putting that video up about the planned starvation, if you will, Joe Heavener sent me an article that he found, and I read this, and this one scares the crap out of me, okay? I'll link it, of course, so you guys can read it, all right? But it is Gene discovered in Georgia water, a possible global threat, okay? And reading through this, what it is the MCR9 gene is basically in the water system when the University of Georgia tested some of the sewage water. Now, the reason that is important is because it has antimicrobial resistance, and that's one of the things that the World Health Organization has declared as one of the top 10 global public health threats facing humanity, okay? So to give you an idea what it is, there is a antibiotic, if you will, that is illegal in the United States, but go figure, China and India use it, okay? It's called colostin, and it's what they will give to livestock to kill any disease they have or whatever would be. Now, like I said, it's illegal in the United States. You can't use it. I don't know about Canada or Europe or anything of the sort like that, okay? So you'd have to look it up yourself to see there. However, the frequent use of it in Asia is meaning that the bacteria are becoming immune or resistant to the colostin. So therefore, the bacteria is continually living on. Now, how does that affect us? Well, any foodstuffs or whatever that are imported from Asia or China, okay, could feasibly have this in it. Now, you get into, and I'm not accusing anybody or anything like that, but I'm just going to say, for example, you buy some duck or something like that from the local ethnic grocery store. God knows y'all know that Mrs. P and I go to the Eastern European grocery store and buy stuff there, okay? And, you know, that'll be coming from Russia or Ukraine or something like that when we get some of that stuff. So certainly there are ethnic Asian grocery stores in the United States. That stuff comes from China, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, Philippines, Korea, Japan, pick one, okay? Well, you eat the food, whatever would be, and like everybody else, you have scraps that go in the garbage, go down the sink, go down the garbage disposer, or whatever would be. And this is how it winds up getting in the wastewater. Well, now you have that wastewater treatment plant, and if that wastewater treatment plant can't or doesn't get this gene out of the water, which I'm not a scientist, so I don't know, but reading what I'm reading here, this is important. Now that can get into the U.S. water supply, which of course gets into the food supply or whatever. And I mean, you think about this gene can travel from waste to water to the cattle trough to the beef to your local Piggly Wiggly or Kroger, and all of a sudden you're eating beef that has this gene in it, okay? Now, this is what is being said too. This means that if people or animals contract a strain of colistin-resistant bacteria, there are potentially no medications that can treat their infection. They face extreme invasive health measures and possibly death. Food issues? Okay. Now, I'm not going to get into the science. You can read this. It's, strands of DNA that are translated, that can replicate on their own, yada, yada, yada. Okay, you can read all this, and if you're more of a scientist than I am, you can figure out more about it. Okay. But so in this article here, it asks specifically, how worried should we be about this MCR9 gene? Okay. This is the comments that were made, or was made. If we don't tackle it right, quote, if we don't tackle it right now, we are jeopardizing human and animal medicine as we know it, and that can have huge repercussions on health and the economy. It's a dangerous problem that requires attention from multiple sectors for us to be able to tackle it properly. Okay? Now, this isn't some small thing or whatever it is. Like I said, this was found in studies in the University of Georgia, but this is not something that's normally tested for. This was students or whatever would be, or some lab testing for it, okay? Because of the urgency of this story, this has now been put out in the Journal of Global Antimicrobial Resistance, okay? So, think about medical journals and stuff like that. This is how scary this food situation gets, guys. Like I told you this morning, okay? Bird flu, swine flu, mad cow, even though, up in Canada, it's a remote case of mad cow disease or whatever it would be, okay? Everything starts with one. I mean, remember, let's just use COVID as an example. Remember at the very beginning of COVID, and everybody's going, oh, big deal. There's 20 people who have it. The next thing you know, we got 8 million or whatever around the world, or however many have, been affected. I mean, it's got to be 1 billion people, whatever, have, caught COVID one way, shape, or form, okay? It all's got to start somewhere. And I don't want to look at something like this and go, mad cow, was just found in one place. Spreads, something like this. Even in this article, it says because they don't normally test for this, it's probably much more widespread than it is. This is something that's very, very worrisome and very important to pay attention to, And again, I'm not a scientist. I can't tell you how to prevent it or anything like that, but this is a story definitely worth paying attention to. And again, knowing where your food comes from. If I see more on this, or if anybody else sees more on this, but please read this article so you're at least aware of what it is. But please share with me the information that you guys find so we can get this out to the masses, okay? I mean, again, this story came out 2 days ago. I haven't heard anything about it. I thank Joe for sending it to me because it's very important for, I think, everybody to know. All right, I'm sick of talking to the camera. We'll see you again if there's anything else worth talking about. See y'all. Pinball out.